purpose of this video is to outline the objective of this project and to just draw your attention to the results. So I have taken information about motorists, and based on that information, I am trying to predict how many claims a policyholder might make per year. In particular, this data is about French motorists, they're third-party policyholders, and there's over 600,000 policyholders in the data set. What I'm going to do now is quickly show you the data set, show you the variables that are in it, or draw your attention to the important ones, and then I'll quickly show you the results. So first of all, this is the raw data on the right hand side of the screen. If you look over to the left in column A, we've got the policyholder or the policy number. In column B, we've got the number of claims the policyholder has made. And in column C, we've got the exposure of the policyholder. So that's how long they took out the policy for. So you can see this, the top person in row 2, where I've highlighted the cell, they only took out their policy for 0.1 of a year. And in fact, you can probably see, if you look down this column, most people actually haven't taken out a policy for longer than a year. All right, and then as you move to the right, there's some other variables that I used to predict how many claims people might make per year. So if you look, I'm looking at row 1 now. So you've got the area that the policyholder lived in France. You've got the power of the vehicle, the age of the vehicle, the age of the driver, how many no claims they had, the brand of the vehicle, the type of fuel it takes, and the population density. I didn't put all of these variables into the model that I built because I think it's probably too big for Excel to handle. So one of the challenges was to actually determine which variables were important and which weren't. I'm going to go into that in another video, but for now I'm just going to draw your attention to the actual model and what some of the numbers represent. So I'm going to go onto another spreadsheet. I copied the data onto another spreadsheet and had to manipulate it a little bit to build the model. But again, I'll talk about that in another video. If we just come to the right hand side of this data set, just bear with me. Okay. So in these columns at the end, AL to AQ, this is where I've done the modelling. For now, I'll just say I modelled the number of claims someone might make per year using a Poisson distribution. And I have made a Poisson generalised linear model. For that linear model, these are the coefficients in this table from AV to AX that I've highlighted. What does it mean? Well, you can see here, these are the variables that I've chosen that are important. So for example, I believe from my investigation, the area that the motorist lives in France is important. The age of the vehicle seemed to be important. The driving age was important. The amount of no claims was important, and the population density was important. So based on these factors, I've built the general linearised model. What do the numbers actually mean? Well, I think you can ignore this middle column for now, AW, and if you just have a look on the final column under AX, I've highlighted a cell here for area B. So what this essentially means is, if a policyholder lives in area B, the number of claims that they might make per year would increase by a factor of 2.33. That might seem like quite a lot. So if someone lives in area B, the number of claims they make increases by 2.33 per year. But actually it's relative. So if you come down and look at, say, someone who lives in area D, the number there is 2.42. So that means the number of claims they make per year will increase by a factor of 2.42. So there's actually not that much difference between area D and area B. But this is all relative to someone living in another area, which is area A. So we can kind of, if you come down here and look at these numbers in the AX column, you can kind of gauge how much each variable affects the number of claims someone might make per year. But ultimately, this information is taken and it's used just to make predictions about policyholders that come in. So in another video, I will explain a bit. In another video, I'll explain a little bit about how I came to these results.